Good day, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Jurassic World Evolution. As I played through the campaign mode of this game, well, you unlock new dinosaurs, and they do tend to get harder to look after the longer you play. For example, the Brachiosaurus is quite difficult to look after, and especially the large carnivores like the Tyrannosaurus Rex and the Indominus Rex. Those can be quite difficult to look after too. So when a dinosaur is out of its comfort zone, it will start to attack the fences the fences of its enclosure. Now, in the entire game, there are 9 different types of fences, 3 of which are exclusive to the Jurassic Park DLC, the Return to Jurassic Park DLC, that is. So in the base game, you've got a light steel fence and an electrified light steel fence, a heavy steel fence and electrified heavy steel fence, a concrete fence, or wall in this case, you can see them in the background, and an electrified concrete wall, which is basically a concrete wall with a couple of wires on it. And in the Jurassic Park DLC, you get 3 fences based off of fences from the movies. A light cable fence, an electrified cable fence, and a heavy cable fence. Now, as with many park builders that involve animals that can get quite unruly, the different types of fences have, different levels of strength. For example, the light steel fence is the weakest fence in the game, whilst the concrete wall is, it's pretty tough. Obviously, each different type of fence is made for a different type of creature. So a light steel fence is best to keep very small, very easy to keep dinosaurs, whilst an electrified concrete wall is made for, things like the Indominus Rex. However, each dinosaur has its own attack rating, and you can upgrade those attack ratings using the genome sequencing feature of the game. So I was intrigued to see how a base attack dinosaur would cope when attacking the fences versus a maximum attack dinosaur. So I decided for this first series of tests I would use the Indominus Rex. I believe it has the highest attack rating of any dinosaur in the game, 116 base attack, and that can go up to 302, I think? Certainly over 300. Vegeta, what does the scouter say about his power level? It's over 300! These tests aren't the first time I've actually done this. I did initially try to just create several concentric rings out of each type of fence, but that didn't work because, the dinosaurs, they liked to just destroy the very centermost rings, and it would take ages for them to get to the final ring of fences and get out of that. So instead I just built several small enclosures and made them out of the different fence types, and that is what I'm going to show you now, and I'll bring you my conclusions afterwards. Let's move on, shall we, to the base attack Indominus Rex, surrounded by those pesky light steel fences.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park.
Two strikes, and you're out. So some conclusions we can draw immediately from the test of the standard unelectrified light steel fences. Yeah. Against even a base attack Indominus, these things are totally useless. Well, maybe not totally, but maybe sort of a line of last resort. Something to buy a little more time to call in an ACU helicopter or make its enclosure a bit more comfortable for it to live in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to
Three strikes? You're out, electrified light steel fence. So, once again some conclusions to draw, and it's a bit more interesting this time. You see, the Indominus, it attacked the fence 3 times, but after the second time, it gave up briefly before it came back and attacked the same section of fence. This is the electrification of the fence coming into play here. It acts as a deterrent to the dinosaur, whilst also somehow increasing the durability of the fence. And electrified fences are incredibly useful in this regard. Not only do they increase the durability of the fence, they deter the dinosaur from attacking it, maybe for long enough to get that critical, crucial ACU helicopter in to contain the dinosaur before it even reaches the enclosure. Of course, because they're electrified, they need power, and well, if you had every single enclosure in the park made out of electrified fences, you're gonna need a lot of power stations, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the
Three hits again, this time on the heavy steel fence. Now, it's worth noting here that because it's an unelectrified fence, there's nothing to deter the dinosaur from continuing to attack it. It's not being hurt by any sort of electricity, it's not being shocked, so it keeps attacking until it either breaks the fence or it gets bored or something, I don't know. That happened a lot with the old Rings design. The dinosaur would attack the same section of wall, and if it wasn't strong enough, it would just give up occasionally. Maybe it got hungry or thirsty. So, yeah, it's worth keeping that in mind. These unelectrified fences are best suited to keeping more docile creatures.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the
So once again the Indominus was deterred from attacking before it came back to the exact same section of the fence and started attacking it again. So this particular section of the fence took 5 hits, though I think the electrification is only supposed to increase its durability by 1. I'm not entirely sure about that. The fact is, this fence took 5 hits, which means it's a decent option to use to keep an Indominus Rex with either base attack or minimal attack upgrades inside.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park.
Taking 6 hits, the concrete wall is the strongest fence so far. There's not really much else to say other than that. Remembering, of course, that this is an unelectrified concrete wall, so the Indominus will keep on attacking it, because there's nothing to deter it from attacking it.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park.
The strongest fence in the game by far. The electrified concrete wall took 10 hits from a base attack Indominus Rex. 11 if you count an earlier hit that it was deterred by. It's like that scene from the original Jurassic Park where Muldoon talks about the velociraptors, how the big one had the others attacking the fences systematically for weaknesses, but they never attacked the same place twice. And it was kind of like that with our Indominus here. She attacked the fence 3 times in 3 separate places before finally settling on the second place, seemingly deciding that that was where the wall was weakest. So that's the base game fences done and out of the way. Let's move on to the fences from the Jurassic Park era.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome Indominus Rex to the park.
Well, it was to be expected, I suppose, as the light cable fences from the JP era are roughly analogous to the light steel fences from the Jurassic World era. 2 hits, and that's the enclosure breached. It's fairly obvious that these fences are not designed to contain something as aggressive and destructive as an Indominus Rex. In fact, the campaign mission that you are introduced to these fences has you using them to contain compies, the thing that is about the size of a chicken.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to
Well, after 4 or 5 hits, it's safe to say that the electrified cable fence is roughly analogous to the electrified heavy steel fence from the Jurassic World era. And as the only electrified fence in the Jurassic Park era, it's recommended to use this fence as the first line of defense when attempting to contain something as angry as an Indominus Rex. And my reason for saying that is in the very next clip.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park.
Yep, the heavy steel fence, well, there's no electrified version of it, as I just said. There's only one electrified fence in the Jurassic Park era, and the heavy cable fence even is what it's called. It's only roughly analogous to the concrete wall. It still takes a fair few hits, but it's not the 10 or so that the electrified concrete wall can take. It's only 6. Still a decent, strong fence but yeah, you've got to have some electrified cable fences providing some backup for this. Otherwise, well, it's going to go down in no time, because it will just keep attacking. So now we're going to move on to the maximum attack Indominus Rex, and once again pit it against the various types of fences. And this time I'm just going to leave my conclusion until the end of all the clips.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park. Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to welcome an Indominus Rex to the park.
the light fences are totally useless. The number of attacks that Indominus made was more or less halved for every single fence type. Light fences are barely an obstacle. Even the electrified light fence was no match for a maximum attack Indominus, simply blasting straight through it. Even the electrified cable fence from Jurassic Park was almost no match. It did succeed in deterring the Indominus, but it did eventually come back, and this time it only took 2 hits instead of the 3 that its counterpart, the electrified heavy steel fence, took. So when trying to keep an unruly maximum attack Indominus, or I suppose any large carnivore, you want to have several layers of fences, because not all of them are going to be able to keep the thing inside. Of course, none of this really matters, I suppose, if you have the Secrets of Dr. Wu DLC, which allows you to make it so that a dinosaur is comfortable in almost any environment, making it impossible to make it angry. In which case you could keep a maximum attack Indominus behind a light steel fence and it wouldn't bat an eye. Be like, oh yeah, this is fine, I don't care. And that concludes this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, I hope you found it informative. Let me know if you want to see anything else like it, such as maybe sending a Stegosaurus against the fences, or a Brachiosaurus, but not the Compsognathus, the Compy, because that thing can't attack the fences because it's too small. It just hops up and down in the same place and goes, let me out, let me out. So thank you very much for watching. Once again, I hope you found this informative and interesting. I'll catch you in the next one, and good night.